Welcome to the course of Consumer Behavior on behalf of IIT Kharagpur. Me, Dr. Shravanti Mukherjee, will be offering you this course. So, today is the introductory module of consumer behavior, and so therefore, this module is known as Introduction to Consumer Behavior. And we have 6 specific learning objectives here. First, to understand the nature and scope of consumer behavior, what it means, and then the application of consumer behavior principles to strategic marketing, characteristics of worldwide customers, special characteristics of Indian consumers, distinctive characteristics of Indian rural customers, and simple 5-stage decision making process. So, to begin with, we first try to define who is a consumer. Consumer is basically a person or an organizational unit that plays a role in the consumption of a transaction with the marketer or an entity. So, consumer is not only the buyer, not only the payer, he or she is also the user, he or she also may be a decision maker. So, the term consumer refers to both the households and the business units. The 5 major roles which the consumers usually undergo or perform are the roles of initiator, influencer, decider, buyer and user. So, the first role, initiator, is who brings the information to the house about any product or any brand. The person actually performs the role of a gatekeeper. For example, if in Ravi's house, Ravi's brother is bringing an information about different kind of mobile handsets in the house and says that the mother has to buy one, or he needs a mobile phone of any particular brand, he is first bringing the information. Then he can influence the mother or the father that a certain brand is good. Finally, it is the decider. It may be the father who is taking the decision which brand he is going to buy. It may be Ravi himself, Ravi's brother himself is a decider that which brand he is going to buy. So, decider is the person who takes the final call of which brand or which product to purchase. Similarly, the buyer is the person who is going to pay the check for this particular purchase. For example, in this case, Ravi's brother wants a mobile phone, but maybe Ravi's father is paying the check. So, therefore, in this case the buyer or the payer is the Ravi's father, and the user is the end user who is finally using this product. Whether or not that person was involved in as an initiator or influencer or a decider, the person may be the user. For example, in a family, if any home theater is bought, the entire family is going to use it, whether or not all family members have taken part during the purchase process or not. Similarly, one single person can actually perform all these kind of roles. When a person feels a need to buy a packet of cigarette and he only decides which brand to buy, he only initiates his purchasing thing, he decides which brand he will finally buy, he buys it and he consumes it. So, therefore, he actually plays all the roles, all the 5 roles in the buying decision making process. So, an individual may play only a single role also, individual may play multiple buying roles, or an individual may play all the roles as well. So, now coming to what is consumer behavior. Traditionally, it has been said that consumer behavior is the study where we try to understand why people buy any product. Now, Angel in 1995 has formally defined it in a very nice and lucid way. He has said that consumer behavior are those acts of individuals directly involved in obtaining, using, disposing of economic goods and services, including the decision process that precedes and determines the acts. In this case, precedes means whatever activities like evaluation of brand, searching of the information about a particular brand. So, these kind of things, this kind of decisions precede, and what kind of decisions are after consumption also, how do we dispose the product, that also comes under the purview of the behavior of the customer. For example, if we have a bottle of mineral water in India, even after consumption of that mineral water, we use it as a water dispenser. So, this how do we dispose the product is also the purview of consumer behavior in nowadays. So, that is how we feel that Angel's definition is quite all encompassing kind of. Shipman and Canuck in 2004 has defined consumer behavior as the behavior that a consumer displays in searching for, purchasing, using, evaluating and disposing of products, services and ideas which they expect will satisfy their needs. So, in short, the study of consumer behavior provides an eye-opening lesson regarding the individual's decision making to optimize utility from consumption with their available resources. Now, what are the available resources to the customer? Their money which they are going to forego to get the product, the time which they spend to take a purchase decision and the effort, that is the effort for searching about the product, effort for evaluating the product and effort for going and acquiring the product. So, these are the things from the customer side which they are spending actually to get the product. So, they try to utilize their they try to optimize their utility from any consumption given the available resources. So, in other words, or to cut it short, we can say that the study of consumer behavior answers the following questions. What are those? What the customers are buying, why they are buying it, how they are buying it, when they buy it, where they buy it from and how often they buy it. So, the most acceptable definition probably of consumer behavior or the most lucid one is probably the one I have already said is the definition of Angel. So, for the purpose of this course, we will be following the definition which has been given by Angel. That is, consumer behavior refers to those acts of individuals that are directly involved in obtaining and using economic goods and services, including the decision process that precedes and determines these acts. So, therefore, if we talk about the nature and scope of consumer behavior, we say that it is the knowledge of consumers particularly needs, their wants, their attitudes, their beliefs, which the firms need to know to improvise their marketing strategies by understanding the some issues like how the customers are feeling, thinking and selecting among various competing brands. For example, if I say BMW, some customer may perceive by the name BMW that it is a pricey product. Sometimes if we say that Parle Marigold biscuit, so by the name Parle Marigold or the previous experience, the customer perceives that it might be a kind of affordable brand. So, these are different kinds of beliefs or the different ways of comprehending about different brand. So, second one is how they are influenced by the environmental stimuli. Environmental stimuli refers to like how my culture influences my decision making, how my subculture influences my decision making. For example, Bengalis celebrate the Durga Puja, so they are going to buy their dresses, they are going to buy different kind of cosmetics and all during or just before the Durga Puja begins. Similarly, in northern India, we find that the purchasing of this kind of jewelry and dresses and all this will go in upsurge during the time of Diwali. So, therefore, culture influences the consumer's decision making. Similarly, family members also have a considerable influence on any decision making. Nowadays, even the children are influencing the decision making, and while the family is going to purchase a car or even kind of mobile phones. Then maybe whatever signs we get from the media or whatever signs the marketers are giving to us, the promotional offers, the distribution offers, the discounts, these are also some environmental stimuli by which the customers get influenced. Then what is the pattern of shopping behavior they are exposed to? Do they want to go to the shopping mall for purchasing, or they want to buy from the kirana stores? So, and why? So, what are the motivational parameters of the purchase? Am I buying it for my regular use? For example, I am a customer who is buying a dress for my regular use, maybe of around 500 to 1000 rupees. But whenever I am going for a wedding ceremony, the same customer is buying a dress of say 2000 or 3000 rupees. So, therefore, what are my motivation to purchase? What is the purpose of my purchase? So, that is also to some extent important parameter to understand with. And then how the decision strategies differ between products which are like if the product is important to me, then probably I will go for a more I will be more involved in the decision making. If the product is not so important to me, my involvement about the product would be much less. For example, when I am seeking a cardiac care, maybe my involvement with that is very high, because that is related to my health. But whenever I am seeking, say for example, I want to buy a packet of biscuit, my involvement would be much lower, because one packet of biscuit will be depleted within a week maybe. So, therefore, these understandings helps the marketers to adapt to the market, whatever is happening to the environment, customers' needs, and accordingly they can improve their marketing campaigns and strategies to more efficiently reach to the customers. Now, we talk about what are the important changes in the nature of modern customers which is being undergone. First one is the movement from collectivism to the individualism. The first sign is precisely the joint family systems are breaking. So, mostly the families are very much concentrated, and nuclear families, there are single parent households, and as an individual there are a lot of single individuals, those who are staying in different cities for their work and all. So, purchase pattern has become much more individualistic rather than a collective one. Trade up and trade down by the same customer. I have already told that me as a customer, when I am going the purchase in which is not so significant for me, maybe I am just settling down with a very cheaper brand in that. For example, when I am buying a sandal for to wear in my house, so that time maybe I am buying a very cheaper one, but when I am going for a party, so therefore that time maybe I am buying a very expensive sandals or very expensive shoes. So, therefore, me the same customer trade up and trade down in different situations. And the concept of value vaulters are also coming up, particularly in the context of India, where the socio-economic pyramidal structure has now become a diamond structure, where the aspirers or the middle class segment is in the upsurge. So, these kind of customers, they are novelty seekers, they want premium brands, they are ready to pay for that, but they also simultaneously they look for the value they are getting from it, and also they look for whatever discounts they can get from it. They look for kind of volume discount, they look kind of value discount, for example, in terms of monetary discounts like 10% off or 20% off. Regarding quantity discount, buy one get one free kind of, and they also look for some kind of discount, which means some freebies or some other kind of gifts which is being offered. So, this kind of customers are known as value vaulters, and given the rise of the aspirers, we can see the number of value vaulters are also increasing in the developing economies. Focus on healthness and fitness focus on health and fitness is also on the upsurge, because obesity, pulmonary diseases, cardiac diseases, all these things are, and several other asthma and many other diseases are actually now on the rise, and therefore, people are very much health conscious. So, we can find that there are mushrooming of multi gyms, mushrooming of several slimming products and several healthcare products, spa and other kind of beauty care things also, and cosmetic surgery of course. And the customer's assertiveness about their choice has also been increased. Finally, we will talk about the boom in online shopping. Now it is the time, just because of working women, just because of the busy lifestyle, the fast lifestyle of the customer, we can see that there is a boom of online shopping, because people avoid to go to the shop in many cases. They try to go for an online shopping, buy from the online platforms, and there they get different kind of discounts also. Now, we find even in Flipkart, Amazon, lot of EMI offers are also coming up, so that also attracts the aspirer section to buy the product from online. Also, along with this, there is another tendency of web rooming and showrooming. Web rooming refers like sometimes we see the attributes, we check the attributes, search for the information from the internet, and then we go and purchase, then select the product and go and purchase it from the shops, I mean the offline shops. And the reverse is also true, like we find out the attributes, we see the products from the showroom, and just because we get different kind of discounts from the online purchase, we select the product from the showrooms, and then we buy the product from online or shopping sites. So, these are different trends which are coming up. To look at India particularly, we see that it is a huge country with 28 states, over 1 billion of population and 120 dialects and languages. So, it is a very diverse country with several subcultures, social classes, caste, race and various kind of religion. So, therefore, the marketer has immense scope actually if they really understand the needs of different subculture, and accordingly they can actually frame their entire supply chain to supply in different regions at different time, they can understand the occasions of different regions, different festivals of different regions, and then accordingly they can plan the supply of their offers. So, the Indian customers otherwise also they have a towering scale of value orientation, which projects them as one of the most sensitive customers in the world, particularly when it comes to the consumption of alcohol, cigarette and other this kind of products, and they have a very high degree of family orientation. Now, we talk about different segments in different customers, which has been given by Martrade Chennai in October 2005. So, that time they have divided the entire Indian society into some segments. The first segment we see here is the segment of socialites. These people are quite rich people, affluent people. They buy usually from the shopping mall, showrooms, and they look for the premium brands in most of the cases. Coming to the conservatives, conservatives are basically the value vaulters, those who, and they also preserve the tradition of the country. They belong to the middle class customers. They want premium brands, but at the same time they are very much value conscious. So, they look for value for money, and they are little bit slow in diffusing a product. Then the another class which Martrade has identified was the class of working women. Since 1980s, we have seen there is an upsurge of the number of working women in the country India. And then it has several consequences, because the increase in the number of working ladies results in the time crunch of the ladies at home. So, that has made them identify the kind of products they want, like dishwasher, creche for the children, first food for the children, and all these things are coming up. And the final one was the Indian reach. Depending on the income level in US dollars, the Indian reach has also been segregated into 5 different segments: the rich, super rich, ultra rich, sheer rich and obscenely rich. Another important parameter to note, or the characteristics of Indian customer, we can say is we cannot actually these days ignore the rural customers. So, therefore, it is actually a very important segment to look into. So, and there is a change in rural customers. They are quantitatively and qualitatively has undergone a sea change. They are becoming brand conscious, they are becoming aware of different brands because of media exposure. They are buying different kind of kitchen gadgets, refrigerators, mixer grinders and pressure cookers, or this kind of products. Even several lifestyle products also, it has been found that they are buying. And precisely the reason identified is the increase in agricultural output, growth in education, then exposure to more and more exposure rather to mass media, because television has penetrated even in the rural segment. Innovative pricing, for example, like we are coming up with pouch packs of several products, several good brands also coming up in pouch packs, which has made the products affordable by the rural customers even. And non-conventional mode of distribution, in this case we can talk about ITC's e-Chowpal, Chowpal Sagar, we can talk about Hindustan Unilever's Project Shakti initiative, which is a very unconventional way of distributing the product in the rural premises. And they are now, just because the rural urban boundary is becoming very thin, and people for several purposes they are working in the banks in the cities, they are working in the schools in the cities, they are coming to the students are coming to the colleges in the towns and cities. So, the demarcation of the urban and rural lifestyle is becoming thinner day by day, and therefore, they try to adopt in many cases the brands which the urban customers are using. And the impact of such changes of consumer profile in the marketing decisions are first and foremost is the increase in the online marketing and also the importance of the electronic word of mouth. Product reviews are also coming in the online platform. Customers are seeking opinion from other friends, peers, from social media, and then they are taking a decision of purchase maybe. Then since the customers are becoming more brand conscious, use of celebrity endorsement has also gone up. Quality oriented outlets, shopping malls are also coming up more and more, and they are really with a very good infrastructure. They are coming up. More sales promotion offer and a very distinctive, very unique sales promotion offers are also coming up. Then eco-friendly and herbal products, for example, Shehnaz Hussein's herbal products, Kia Shades beauty care products, these are all coming up as different herbal products, because customers are becoming very eco-friendly and health conscious. So now we come so far what we were discussing is how the customer behavior is changing. Now what are the application of such changes to the principles of marketing? Where do we use it really? Now we use it first of all to decide mainly the 4 P's of marketing. Say the first one is, what kind of product are we going to design about? Are we going to design a very premium product? Like for example, Tanishq, they have designed, initially they came with a very elite kind of slick jewelries and initially with 18 karat gold. Then they understood that the Indian jewelry market is mostly concentrated in the wedding sector. So therefore, they position themselves as a wedding jeweler. Then they position themselves as different kind of weddings they are going to cater to, like Punjabi wedding, South Indian wedding, and like that, and they started positioning themselves as your wedding jeweler. So that's how they were customizing the design of jewelries based on the subcultural needs. Like in the north, they want more of stone studded jewelry. In the south, they will look for more of solid and heavy jewelries. So this kind of concepts has been taken care of, and then obviously what should be these specific attributes, what kind of packaging and labeling the customers will like, then what kind of pre and post sale service the customers will look for, what kind of models, how many variations the customers are seeking for. I will just show you 2 pictures which you can see here. Obviously I have taken it from some sources, and the sources are mentioned here. This is the Godrej Chotu Cool, a 9 kg refrigerator which was first developed to cater to the need of the Indian rural and customers mainly, because this can work. This is a battery driven product which can be charged, but obviously it can run with battery set for hours together, and particularly in a rural India where electricity connection is sometimes very erratic. So they are this kind of products, and this is a very low cost product. So therefore the customers can afford it for obviously it is not as costly as any refrigerator or any low price refrigerator, even it is much cheaper, and it can help the rural customers to store their brands. So that is one way. But after the success in the rural India, the Godrej started positioning, Godrej started placing it rather to the urban India as well. And in the urban India, the positioning is like, you can take it in the travel, because it is a very lightweight refrigerator. You can carry your soft drinks, whatever things which you want to be chilled, you can carry it. You can go for a party, you can go for a long ride, and you can just carry this 9 kg refrigerator in your car. So the same product is actually catering to 2 different needs of 2 different sectors of the society. Similarly, the washing machine, which we use for washing clothes in many places, like in Punjab highways, we can see that those are also used as lassi makers. The second one, so as a marketer, we need to identify what could be the possible uses of the product. So similarly, we should also identify what kind of prices the target market is ready to pay. Flipkart, Amazon, they are offering even EMI for buying mobile handsets and all. Why? Because they have identified that the customers aspire to buy premium brands, but they do not always have the paying capacity in one single go, rather they do not have the willingness also to pay in the one single go. So easy EMI schemes could help to address this problem, and it can help the products to penetrate in the middle income segment also. So, therefore, what should be the appropriate price? What specific price quality assumption the customers are having, how much the price should be lowered, what kind of price discount should be given. So, all these things should be understood actually. And then of course, to customer behavior is having or consumer behavior is having a very close need with in the promotion strategy, because what message they should portray to the customer. Will they portray that Godrej Chotu is a product for upper class, or should they portray in a particular message the product is for the rural India. So, that decision, or they will actually design two different sequels of ad for, like Tanishq has done. Tanishq has done one for wedding jeweler, and the other one they are doing for Tanishq Mia, which is specifically meant for the working ladies. Those are very sleek jewelries, and those two campaigns are very different. So, whether to go by two different campaigns, whether to use a single campaign. So, these kind of things need to be understood. Then who should be the celebrity to promote it, what could be the salesperson's approach to sell any product, what kind of publicity platform should be used, then and then what kind of media should be there. For example, if I want to sell pesticides, of course, the radio would be the best media, because I have to reach to the farmers who throughout the day will be working in the fields. And then finally, from where the customer can buy the product. So, that shows my distribution channel. Do they want to buy it from mail? Do they want to buy it from online platform? Do they want to buy it from shopping malls? So, from where they want to buy it? So, or they want to buy it from personal sales people. So, these are the decisions they need to take. Now, finally, for this session, this is our final touch, that is the 5 stages. We just want to introduce, obviously as the course progresses, I will introduce with you with the more complex consumer buying decision making models, but this is the simplest one, that is the 5-stage decision making process. The first one is the need recognition, which means I will give you a very simple example, that I carry my products, like I carry my daily use items, like say my tiffin box, like my papers and all this, in a plastic folder and carry it to my office in a crowded bus. Every time in a crowded bus my products get spoiled, because that falls in the crowd, it gets the papers get crunched and all this. So, therefore, in the office I am seeing that many people are buying, they are bringing their attaches, they are bringing their vanity bags, they are bringing several other kids bags and all these things. So, I get an idea that I can have some solution for my everyday problem, and that solution could be, as I think, could be an attache. Now, what are the different attaches I have seen? So, I start searching information. So, there could be two kind of information search. One is searching information from my own memory. Another one is the external search, which is where deliberately I am asking my peers, or I am looking at different advertisements, I am looking at different journals to see what, or magazines, what kind of advertisements has come up, and I am deliberately searching information about different brands. So, after that I have boiled down to an evoked set, that is my choice set, based on my affordability and maybe some of the choice criteria which I have set. Maybe my choice criteria are spaciousness, the locking system, the security, the style of the product, the material which has been used to prepare the product, the leather or bakelite or any other products which has been used to prepare it. So, based on all this, I have selected, for example, Samsonite, Aristocrat, VIP, maybe these 3 brands are there in my evoked set. Now, I can choose any of this. So, I am going to evaluate the alternatives based on certain criteria. So, I will make a permutation combination, I will try to give scores, and I will make a permutation combination, which brand is good, is the price of this brand is better, the spaciousness of the other brand is better. So, in this way, finally, I will rank the brands as my most preferred brand, second preferred brand and third preferred brand, and then I will go to the shop to purchase it. Now, in the purchase moment also, I may go and purchase whatever brand I wanted, but it may be changed also, because maybe my first preferred brand was VIP, second was Samsonite, but in the shopping point I have seen that Samsonite is giving me some better offers. So, therefore, I may switch also. So, the task of the marketer at the purchase point is actually to be very careful about offering the discounts, offering any kind of offers and the kind of promotion they make in the point of purchase. Whereas, in terms of need recognition, information search and evaluation of alternatives, it was mostly the advertisement and any other promotion forms which the marketers should be focusing on. And finally comes, after I have consumed the product, I will have three kind of behavior mainly, that is known as post purchase behavior. The first one relates to the satisfaction, of course. The second one is when I am dissatisfied, and then I will have a kind of cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance means I am very dissatisfied, so I keep on searching more information about the brand, or I keep on seeing what the brands my peers are using, what are the complaints of these brands. So, this kind of disturbance I will continuously have, and this state is known as cognitive dissonance. And the third stage is of course my neutral state, when I am not too happy, not too unhappy. The concern for the marketer mostly is the negative part, that is the when the customers are dissatisfied, because that can spread a negative word of mouth, and studies have portrayed that the negative word of mouth spreads much faster than the positive word of mouth. So, therefore, it is very important for the marketers that at this moment how do you go for the recovery of the customers, particularly if you are in the service sector, there are several service recovery mechanisms to bring back the dissatisfied customers in your service scape. So, this was today's module and module 1. So, thank you so much, and we will meet you in module 2 with the changing trends of the consumers. Thank you.